Good evening, everyone. I just saw that you had a fantastic session preceding this. And I saw people taking selfies with Ramesh, which means that he has probably made some excellent motivational speech around here. Um, we now move on to a session wherein we want to talk about scaling. You know, one of the things about Kerala enterprises, and it's a social element or a aspect that I've seen. People are usually happy with less amount of money. You start a company, you scale it to $1 million, $5 million, $10 million, and then people feel that, oh, it's okay. I have reached a comfortable state. I don't want to grow anymore. I just want to run this organization. But a wise man once told me that if you're not moving forward, then you're actually moving backward. So scaling is an important aspect of every business, let alone startups. Any business needs to actually grow at some point of time to build eternal organizations, right? So we have a very eminent set of people sitting on this dais who have done some wonderful work in creating enterprises that have scaled very well, that has become big. Um, but the reason why I wanted to ask the question of time is because I want this to be a more interactive session. Um, we want to hear from people about what is it that you would like to learn from these guys after they give an introduction about your companies, your journey a little bit. Probably we'll spend 5 minutes each for each of you about telling the story about your journey so far. And then we'll take a break and go back to the audience and see what they think. So we'll start with you, Russell.
Good evening, and thank you for this opportunity. I'm not going to much of formalities, so let me go straight into the topic. So we are a footwear manufacturing company started in 1984 and introducing a brand in 1986 with 600 pairs of production. And that time, my father, I'm the second generation. We tried to solve three major problems of consumer. If anybody can recall the old Hawaii slipper, it has three major problems. One, it comes in two layers. And after a period of 1 month or so, you started getting a moon symbol on your footwear. I don't know whether if you can recall that. And that moon symbol will become bigger and bigger, and it will become a full moon. And later on, you will start seeing in the ground. So that was one problem. And whenever you walk, and if somebody steps onto your footwear, then the straps comes out. So when you are going in a very hurried way to somewhere or some places, then this is a major task to put that back inside. And the third problem was when the stepping is little stronger, either the button or the neck get breaks. So these are the three major problems. I think if anybody can relate to their olden days when they use Hawaii slipper. So these were the three problems. And father found that help from the rubber board and other laboratories, thought out that solved this problem and launched the product. And he solved that, made a single layer where the sole is very strong with a high content of synthetic rubber, and it will the wear and tear was very low, and you can use it till you see the earth, but it takes a longer time. And the strap, we made it with a higher content of rubber, and the breakage was very, and even if you, I mean, the sole is completely worn out, the straps remains. And the button, I mean, as the synthetic leather content was higher, the strap was strong and hard. So the coming out was very, very difficult. So, but if it comes out, then putting back is much more difficult. So that was a major issue. So this along with that, we placed the product in a different manner when compared to those times followed methods. See, every time the distribution network was selected as one of the major wholesale dealer in particular city, but father selected all small players across Malabar basically. And apart from that, normally those days, if you can recall, the packaging was either a grey board box packaging or a transparent polythene bag. So father used a specific color with a yellow tone color. Will even Tamil Nadu it call as manjapai. So this product actually, when you keep it on the shop, it was like easily seen from the out of the entire lot. So these are the things which we started in those days, and within short time we could well, increase our production and the popularity increased, and because of the life of the product. And from 600 now we manufacture almost 500,000 pairs a day across multiple manufacturing unit, and we are the largest manufacturer of PU footwear in the country and probably in the world, because there is no statistics available, but the material consumption, we are the largest PU footwear manufacturer of in the world. So this is what we are now in VKC.
Thank you, Rasak. I am sure people will have questions. I have some questions which we will come back to. Now we go on to actually Cancor is a great story. How many of you have heard about spice extracts and the industry that is associated with it? How many knows about Cancor? Okay. How many knows about Synthite? Okay. Jimon, why don't you tell your story and probably talk about the industry also a little bit?
Sure. This industry started way back in 1969-70 as an extension of spices. So the world was using spices and we were using spices. Spices was being cultivated here all over Kerala, predominantly at that point of time. And then evolved into spice extracts, which, the fast food restaurants were opening up in the West, McDonald's, the KFCs. So they needed consistent quality of input ingredients. And that's where spice extracts come in, because when you use spices, it's never consistent. If you have all ever cooked, the same bottle of spice that you use today, and you take the ingredients from that same bottle 1 month later and use it, the taste is different because it loses its actives. So then you have spice extracts, which is completely consistent. So this industry started the first ever extraction unit in Asia. This was put up in Angamali by the earlier promoters of the company in 1969 as an extension of then existing spice company VKL, which had a legacy since 1857, operating out of Alleppey. So when you look at that and got into extraction, so I joined the business in 1994. I, jokingly say that I was 10 years old when I joined the business. And as it was a very small business, probably around 15 crores, having business in about 10 countries at that point of time, with one key product, which was oleoresin of black pepper, along with certain other small oleoresins at that point of time. But as the world was evolving, as the food tastes were evolving, the market also was changing, because by the 90s, your raw material was not necessarily coming from Kerala. It was coming from other parts of the world, because other parts started producing more. Today, Vietnam is the largest producer of black pepper, producing nearly 300,000 tons of pepper. Kerala, which used to produce 100,000 tons of pepper, is down to 60,000 tons of pepper. So you have to buy raw material from outside, process it in India, export it with value addition. This was the change, and you had to change. And you changed, not just in terms of sourcing raw materials from other parts of the world, but also in terms of technology. You kept evolving and you kept adding more products. Today, there are, I would say, several divisions within the organization at MAN. We have natural spice extracts, essential oils, natural antioxidants, natural colors, shelf life extension products, taste and aroma products, nutraceuticals, all of these. Because as you went into taste, you went into the next higher level where you went into nutraceuticals, you went into natural colors. These are all adjacencies, but higher value add products as you go down. And you stick to your basic DNA, which is all natural. There's no synthetics here. So it's absolutely natural, but you have expanded your product range, you have expanded your technology, you have gone out and reached into more markets. Today, we operate in 80 countries in the world, with offices in so many countries as well, with our own people in different parts of the world. So that's been a journey. And this has come through constant evolution, bringing in technology, and never, like Razak said, you have to keep evolving. You have to bring in new technology. You have to understand that you have to keep changing. If you are doing very well today, what you are doing today, you are stuck in today. That's it. You are the best today. That today is not the same as tomorrow, because tomorrow is entirely different. Your challenges are different. The world requirements are different. You have to keep moving to change it. We were talking to him just a few minutes back, and I'll leave it to you when Anup will ask him to tell his story and how he keeps evolving. So it's a question of evolving. It's a question of the only constant is what? Change. Thank you.
Thank you, Jiman. How many of you would like to get married? Christian. Well, I'm asking the unmarried ones. Nobody. That's what I was asking Mrugavel. Do people still get married? You know? And he says with conviction that yes, they do. And at some point of time, everybody is looking forward to getting married. For the last 25 years, this man has been helping Indians get married. So why don't you why don't you tell the story?
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity. By the way, I found my life partner through matrimony.com, Bharat Matrimony. Happily married for 25 years. So, uh, so millions of people found their life partner through our service. So we started way back in 2000. Initially started with Tamil matrimony. Same year launched all the matrimony sites. In fact, Kerala matrimony very unique because all our matrimony sites are based on language. Tamil matrimony, Telugu matrimony, Kannada, Marathi, Bengali. When it came to Kerala, we were not sure Malayali spelling. There's a different name, the way they name is Malayali. Whether I'm talking much before all the Google and all, whether Malay, Mala, Yale. I said, look, too many options. For Kerala alone, for this region, I went to Kerala matrimony, not Malayali matrimony because of multiple spelling option for Malayali. So that's very, very unique. But Kerala matrimony, one of the strong brand names for us. So obviously, I want to give the umbrella brand name. That's the Bharat Matrimony happened because I was language-based matrimony sites. I started the venture while I was in the US. I moved back to India. So as we getting people married, the brand matrimony became popular. We realized that majority of the marriage in India happened within the community, fast. So realize that because any business become popular, people like to have the share of the business in the all the possible ways because the category continue going to divide, or people figure out the way of capturing the and share of the growing market. That led to because considering that the majority of marriage happened within the community, we launched 200 plus matrimony sites based on religions. We have a Christian matrimony, Muslim matrimony, Jain, Sikh, all the caste-based matrimony side, Nair matrimony, Alava matrimony. Talking in Kerala specific, Agarwal, Patel. For the caste is not only a community, it's a like-minded people. You have a doctor's matrimony on the popular sites, because doctors want to marry a doctor. Then you have defense matrimony, because defense is a community. You have divorcee matrimony, and because divorce is a community by itself. Actually, you have 40 plus matrimony also. So after 40, you are not worried about the cost and all. You want to get married. So there's a 40 plus matrimony. Then IIT matrimony. Then we also saw that the rich and affluent people, it's a elite is a class by itself. You have elite matrimony for rich and affluent. And so 3 years ago, we launched a product, again, very happy about that product called Jodi, the exclusive matchmaking service for non-degree holders. Because it's one of the desire for us while helping millions of people find the life partner. Because the Bharat matrimony, Kerala matrimony is meant for degree holders, English speaking population. The product little in a way that we need a lot of information to be put in. That segment of population, obviously, they are looking at get married to someone, not too much of the preferences. So we launched Jodi, exclusive matchmaking. Today, Jodi is helping even people who have done diploma, 10th and below, they're getting married at service. Today, as an organization, we serve all segment of the population, whether rich and affluent elite matrimony, whether it's Jodi for non-degree holders, whether the 200 plus community matrimony site based on religion, languages, community. Plus, we also have retail outlets across India where parents can walk into the retail outlets and they can avail the services. Today, what matrimony? We change the way Indians find the life partner. Literally, the millions of people found the life partner service, and every year, almost 8 million people sign up. And we continue to figure out how to get more and more people married. So the question what you ask, do people get married? Marriage is one of the beautiful things one can have. Okay? No, not the marketing, it's a fact. Okay? Because if you get a good life partner, the marriage life is a wonderful thing. And anyone can have a good life partner. It's about understanding a marriage. It's not about marriage or some people have some kind of notion or think about marriage. It's nothing with the marriage per se. It is understanding marriage. People are getting married without knowing what it takes to marriage happy and successful. Today we know what it takes to do a IT programming job, but nobody teaching them how to live a happy married life. I think that's the role you're going to play because the purpose of matrimony.com not helping people get married. Our purpose of matrimony is to make each and every marriage happier and successful. Because this is the purpose I tell you. It's the purpose of matrimony. The future of the country depends on its citizen. Good citizen come out of good parenting. Good parenting is possible in happy marriage. You get the nation right, you get a marriage right. Okay? Because end of the country is not about, it's a social fabric, our country is the families.
Every next minute costs 1 lakh rupees.
Yeah.
For
Yeah. So, so
for
if you get the marriages,
you
yeah.
cannot continue this.
So yeah, that's the thing. So marriage is definitely a wonderful thing, and that's the thing you're going to work on it. Make every marriage happier.
And
So
Burgavel,
matchmaking.
you also want to talk about the 2 routes that you're giving to people?
Yeah, we also going to launch again this site in the very early stage. We are launching love.com, luv.com. Because the two-way people get married in India. Either come to matrimony site or you want to take the route of want to fall in love and get married. And matrimony also you can fall in love, get married. So this is another route, love.com, where you can, little longer. Okay, I want to talk to the girl because the love.com only individuals. Well, Bharat Matrimony, Kerala might allow parents also register. So that's going to be launched. So that's going to happen. So whether love route or matrimony route, please get married. Okay. And from matchmaking, we are going to wedding services. We have a wedding bazaar, mandap.com. We have launched Make My Wedding in Tamil Nadu, where people are looking at wedding services, facilitate wedding services.
Back to you.
Yeah.
So basically, I want to ask one question to each one of you. And I want to get some questions because usually what happens with panel discussions is that we will all give our gyan to the people and disperse. I don't know how much people like it, how much information do you really gather. So I really want you to think about some questions that you can ask these guys. What is it that you would like to learn from them in the next 30 minutes or so that we have? But this one question that I'm going to ask to each one of you is, what is the revenues of your company or organization in the last financial year?
Close to 480 crore
480
and
crore.
45 crore profit. Yeah.
Okay.
We are close to 1,500 crores.
Right.
And our turnover is, I think, as a group, it's around 3,000.
3,000 crore. So you're selling footwear, you're selling what is close to Kerala, which is spice and spice extracts, and matrimony, which is close to your heart, and you have 3,000 crores, 1,500 crores, and 500 crores as the annual turnover of the last financial year. So these are people who have significantly scaled their business. Are there any questions from the audience? If there are no questions, I will ask the questions, but yes, please.
Hi. So basically, the question that I wanted to ask is, so we are kind of building, like in the process of building a startup, I would say, a company. So when I look at the market, there are other players as well who are doing, like the similar things that we are doing. So when we seen, shows like Shark Tank or somewhere else, like people or investors normally say that, like there are lots of other players as well, so you can't get into this business. But what's your take on that? Should we get into a market where other players are there?
So I'll ask these questions to them, but I think the basic question here is that there is competition. Can I still play? Right? I have an idea. I look at I do the competitive analysis. I see some competitors. Do I have a space to play? That is the question. So I'll park that question. Anything else? Any other questions? Yes.
Hi, sir. Sadiq here, developing a platform called the Guiding Mentor for the student mentorship for the academic and personal growth. So my question is, when we start in the very beginning stage, I don't know whether you guys started or you from fathers it has started, but there will be a moment where we are scaling really. Once we find a product, then there would be a moment we are setting the system and what we need to be, when we have to scale in that bigger level and what should be aware of it. And if you can add your own experience also, it would be great.
So I think first generation entrepreneur who wants to do a startup when do you decide that you need to now scale and or adopt strategies of scaling? That is the question. Anything else? I'll take one more question before I go to yes.
If you're into a niche market and if you're doing a prototype and if we find out that if it's going to fail in parallelly, how can we move forward? And if we are in a success in a niche market, how can we scale? So like if the product is in a niche market, how can we scale it up in a good way?
So how do we scale?
Yeah.
Product is in a niche market or any market. I think at some point of time I need to scale. How do you scale?
And while finding at that procedure parallelly find out that not going to move forward, there are some hurdles. How can we overcome that?
Right. So at some point of time, you now start to believe that I'm going to fail with this product. What do I do? Right? Okay. Simple questions, very broad. I mean, in the sense like very deep questions, I would say. But these are questions that everybody will have in their mind. So I'll start with the competition, right? I am getting into a market, and I'm sure as part of scaling, all of you would have done some uh, market study, look at the competition, and then I need to either beat the competition or outperform the competition so that I can scale. What is the strategies that you can adopt to beat your competition and outperform your competition? So I'll start with probably Gmon, because you from 10 countries to 50 countries,
80 countries.
80 countries, yeah.
The question is very deep because why is there a competition? First of all, the competition is there because the space is there. If the space wasn't interesting, you wouldn't have had competition. So does that mean you need to walk away and leave it open for somebody else? No, which means you need to stand there and prove that you are better. And in fact, having a competition is good because that makes you better than what you are today. That doesn't let you rest on your laurels. You have to keep improving. You have to invest. You have to make sure that you build your loyalties with your customers. You build product differentiation. You build your own unique offering, USP as we call it, and go out and reach into those markets faster than somebody else so that you are out there first. Today, if you come to Cancor, you would probably see the world's #1 R&D center in natural ingredients right here at Angamali. 25,000 square feet with the world's best equipments, which many people haven't even seen any time in their lifetime. That's the kind of labs you have there. QA, 15,000 square feet of pure analysis. When a customer comes there, he gets a feeling that this is the customer I want to work with. I don't want to work with the other person. That said, let me tell you also that I have the highest of regards for two of my best competitors who are just 20 kilometers in the vicinity. The three of us command nearly 80% of the global market. This is what Kerala can do if we put our minds to it. So competition is welcome. Not just to beat the competition, to be better than the competition. You build your loyalties, you build your product niche and go with it. Don't shy away. This is the fight that you are in there. If you have conviction that this is what you want to do it. Don't give up.
I have a few questions on that, but I'll come back to after Murugavel. I'll come to Rasak because Rasak has got a very unique example of the Kozhikode footwear cluster, wherein a lot of people actually competed in the same market. So we'll talk about that. But before that, Murugavel, I also want to ask this question in lines of this. For you, while you jokingly said about all this, Nair matrimony, Irava matrimony, Indian matrimony, Kerala matrimony,
Marketing also.
it is all segmentation that you did, right? I mean, the analytics that you did on the market, identifying specific segments that kept on coming, 40 plus, elite matrimony. So all these things are various segments that you've identified. I'm looking at an offering or a product, and I'm looking at the market, and I'm seeing that there is competition in the market. How does effective market research and segmentation help you to define your niche, the word that he used?
So it's a very, very interesting point. So the business, I'll talk about the definition of business, also touch upon what he said. What is a business? A business is a product or service for the category, for the target segment. Where people people choose a category, they miss on a target segment. The target segment very, very clear. They help you to focus on this segment you want to target. backed by the compelling value proposition. And for that, the customers are willing to pay a price. At that price, you will run a profitable organization. It's what the definition of business. When it comes to the question, we do a business, you will be the first in the category possible. Okay, because always whatever you try to do, you choose a segment where they try to be the first in the category. Because being the first in the category, you have more chance of becoming successful. It can be niche, what the question asks. The thing about if you are getting into existing category, there are 4 ways we can win against existing category. These are 4 ways. If the market already established what I said, the market is already there. So getting into the market where the competition already there, these are 4 ways you can win. Either you have to be different, cheaper, faster, or better. If you are yet another, if you are not either cheaper or faster, better, different, then why would customer need to come and buy a product from you? Okay, I think these are questions you ask. These are only 4 ways we can win against the existing competitor. The advantage of getting into a existing category, the market already educated. Okay, then you have to say all the is all quick commerce. People are already buying faster. All the food delivery cheaper. So e-commerce initially won by cheaper. So we have to figure out what is your strategy and all those things. So that's
That's a very good, actually, 4 points that anybody can take home and work on to define your unique selling proposition. But competition need not necessarily be bad, right? Jimon was just saying that you have 3 companies working in the space with controlling 80% of the market. And Kozhikode had a similar example about how a bunch of people grew together. You want to share that experience?
Yeah. So before coming to that, I would say that everybody is talking about growth and scale up. So actually, these two, growth and scale up, actually have to be approached in two different ways. And growth is something like which you just focus on the fruits, and scale up means you focus on the roots also. And both of them, you focus, then you can scale up. Otherwise, you can have a growth, but one fine morning, anything can happen. So, as I think our sir said, see, there are only few things that you need to take care. So, when we launched Hawaii Chapel, it was the better one, and then we introduced a series of product which is almost the first time in either in the region or in the state or in the complete the India also. So first we launched the reprocessed footwear, which was not available in Calicut or Malabar area. And once we started that time nobody knew the technology, and we got the technology through. That was a story, but I think if you talk that, the time will be completed very fast. So I'm not going to that. But when it came here, the technology, we kept it open for all. And we introduced a product in 1984, and you remember that time that the World Cup was going on, and there was a name which was running around, and the product name was the same, Maradona. So we got a very good acceptance in the market, and many people started copying it. And the first one was the copying in the sense many people started the same industry. The first one was the manager of that company. And from there, if you see, everybody is connected to either any of these companies. So automatically this got scale up, and it's almost came to within a few years, almost 80, 90 units came up in this Calicut area. Then by the time we moved to different product, which is first virgin PVC product in Kerala, which was actually earlier that time was supplied only by Bata. And when we launched, Bata reduced their price by 28 rupees on a particular product. So this I'm talking about 1994. Then 96 we launched first microcellular PVC, which was again something similar to Bata, but at a much lower price. Again, these two product is better price. Then we launched a DIP footwear, that is synthetic leather upper with DIP, and that was first time in South India. And that again was much better price at that particular point of time. And this time what happened in the industry, the PVC, all the reprocessed PVC started facing a problem, because the raw material was scrap footwear. So when so much of industries came, the availability of scrap became problem, and people started complaining about high competition. And another thing was that full PVC and DIP. DIP means half of the product is not what you call PVC as a material. It is a synthetic leather. So the total consumption of fresh PVC go down and automatically the scrap also reduce. So by the time people started making DIP, and DIP there was a problem of shortage of raw material. That was an imported raw material which was supplied in by the especially from Delhi, and we have to send advance. And when you get the product, it is something what is not you ordered. So you have a lot of trouble. So what we did that time, we started importing direct from Taiwan, and under our leadership, with my brother as a MD, we formed a company of 32 units, and we started importing the same raw material what we are importing, and we started distributing to all the companies at a much lower price than what they were doing from Delhi. And there, if you have to have a minimum order, like if you're buying from Delhi, you need to take minimum 15 rolls. 15 rolls means that time the amount was very high. So we started giving even one roll because it is a locally available. So everybody could scale up for that product also along with this. So finally, what happened? The number of units grew in all the sectors, and earlier we used to go to Delhi, Bombay, or abroad for raw materials. Now everything is available in Calicut, and all the ancillary unit have started in Calicut, and we don't have to go to anywhere. People are coming to Calicut and doing it. So then from DIP, we moved to air injected DIP first time in South India. Then we moved to air injected PVC first time, air injected EVA first time in South Central India. And there all we launched at the advantage was again price. Our first time introduction and along with that price. Then PU footwear we launched in 2006. But that we were not the first, but we were the cheapest. The best available alternative was for ladies, it was 400 rupees and gents 500 rupees. We launched it 200 and 250. So what happened is we democratized the entire industry, and that continued the other companies also in the similar line, because we conducted a technological seminar plus exhibition in Calicut with only 12 companies displaying there. And that exhibition over a period of time, we took up to 400 stalls in Calicut for footwear exhibition. So this was the scale that it came from 12 stalls to 400 stalls. And from a small Taj hotel to big ground, we took it to, and that entirely done by the industry people. Like it's not we are in market, we are competing, but when it comes to a common purpose, we are all together. And if any exhibitor comes from abroad, the person who is going to the airport or railway station and taking their bag and putting onto the car is all the manufacturers, MDs of each companies. So this is the connection what we made in our the model. We did it in Calicut, and it was very successful. And with the PU coming in, Calicut became almost the largest manufacturer of PU footwear in the country. All other product, North India is the largest manufacturer, but when it came to PU footwear, it was Calicut who came, and our growth was almost 100%, 115% year on year in the entire PU industry.
Is that still continuing? Or
No, actually there was some as you know, we had a continuous issues relating to, one is with the GS, one is after the demonetization. Then flood number 1, flood number 2. And I think Sar is sitting here in front of us, where we worked together during the flood time. And after that, COVID 1, COVID 2. So continuous 6 years, there was major issues, and almost I think half of the unit are now vanished because of various issues. So, but we are still now trying to bring it back, and some efforts are going on. And still, though we compete each other, all the brands are competing in the market, but we all work together for the industry.
So, I'll now get into the. I think did you get your answer? What are the 4 answers that he gave you? I don't want to sound like a professor, but faster, better, cheaper, different. Yeah, I think that's what he was explaining. How they became better, how they became cheaper, how did they use technology to do that? How was competition helping them to do that? So all these things will come into the play as you get into the market.
And as Jimonji said, no, see competition, because when competition is there, you try to upgrade yourself day by day. Otherwise, what will happen? If you see all the companies which were present those times, big companies, they are not in the picture right now because they didn't diversify, they didn't move to different product. So once you have competition only, and once you start looking at the market, automatically you have the idea.
Okay. So I'll get into the next question, which is the point that was raised is, when do I decide to scale? When do you think I'm ready to scale? Is there different strategies that I should then adopt before I scale? Right? That is one question that came up. Is there a specific timeline when you decide to scale, Murugan? For you, it's a digital platform, so you can actually scale pretty easily, I would say. But for the other two, it is going to be a little more plant and machinery and expenses. So we'll get to that. But what was your strategy?
So even digital companies, Airbnb is digital company, Uber in a way considered digital. So basically they say get the product market fit right. So till the time you have to continue the experiment. So get the strategy right.
I'm going to stop you
Yeah.
right there. How many of you have heard about what is called product market fit? Okay, why don't you say what it is? The second one in this, yes. Because that is one place where we have problems all the time uh, with ideators coming and pitching to us. What is the product? How do you establish product market fit? What is product market fit?
Basically how the product sold or like
It's the
approached by the customers. The customers are wanted that product very well, or like more than like 1,000 people are interested. That is what I think.
product market. Murugavel, do you agree?
Yeah. And
And this is a
can-
very important
yeah,
point about startups also, because you listen very carefully to what is the definition of a product market fit.
as I said, the business about the product for the category in the target segment, and with a different value proposition for which the customer willing to pay a price. That's the most important thing. It's not about getting the product right. The product right at the right price. At the price, then you can able to make a profit out of it. When you consume a product, you have to, when you reach out the market is a target segment, hey, do they need for the product? Are they willing to pay for it? Are they willing to buy for that? And also another feature initially, when you do the experiment, okay, do they want this feature? It's not about whether customer want the feature, the customers are willing to pay for the feature. When you do all this experiment, then you get, okay, there's a market, there's a product, yeah, the people are willing to pay, I can scale, I can make a profit also. So getting that initial stage of fine tuning, okay, there's a product I'm creating, the customer willing to buy the product. That's why they're getting the product market fit. So yeah, once you get the initial product market fit, you do the experiment, get the thing right. Once a product market fit, then you have to go for a scaling up. That's why the land grabbing opportunity. I mean, like you have to really scale up. So one market, test it, experiment, get the product market fit right. Once you got the market, then whether India, globally scale, whether be it Airbnb, Uber, they all experience one market. They got it right, then scaled up. Whether we in Zepto, anything. So many big companies today, but got it right in one single market.
I think that's a very important. The only thing that you did not talk about is about the money that the customer is willing to pay and the profit that I will be able to make in that entire process. Most of the times, people think that I have a product. When I take it to people, people say, oh, this is a wonderful product. So I have product market. No. That is a slight difference that everyone needs to understand about how do you price it. Are people willing to write the check? Will I make a profit in that entire exercise? And what is the financial projection that will result into that? Jimon, when do you think you're ready to scale? I know when you started, it was, what was the revenue?
15 crores.
15 crores. Yeah.
So when the market is evolving, when we say scale up, it's not just doing the same thing in a larger scale. Because what happens is over a period of time, your competition is also doing the same thing and it becomes a Me Too product. Okay, so as Murugavel said and as Razak said, you have to look at adjacencies, different product offerings, which are of higher value add and which reaches to more clients which you don't have today. That is scale up. Scale up is not just volume business. You have to differentiate as you grow. And at each stage, what you are trying to do here is to leave the competition behind by involving technology, by depending on what businesses we are in, and at each when we started, we had just one product. It was just oleoresins. Then we brought in essential oils. Then we brought in mints. Then we brought in natural colors. Then we brought in antioxidants, shelf life products, nutraceuticals. So it has taste and aroma products. It has happened over a period of last 25, 30 years. At every 5 years, you bring in something new and different. And let me make it clear that not everything will succeed, but that should not stop you from trying and bringing out those products. You have to continuously evolve, continuously bring out new products, because otherwise you are left behind. Competition is ahead of you. Don't allow that.
Prasad, your thoughts on that? The next question is about really accepting failure, right? Or failure is a strong word, but accepting setbacks and how do you pivot? But I would take a few more questions before that. But your thoughts on scaling?
Yeah, actually, say I already told in my previous answer, like growth and scale up. Like you can scale up when your roots. There are something which your make sure that your roots are strong enough, like your strategy, your symbols, your structures. If everything is ready, you are ready to scale up. So unless you have these, basic things, and if you start trying scale up, then finally, without if something is not deep rooted, and if only the top is heavy, automatically the tendency is to fall down. So we have to make sure that we are doing that kind of deep rooted, what you call structure, and our strategy, where we are going, how we are going, and what are our value systems, or what are we are going to follow, the product symbols. So if you go to some if you see Coca-Cola, that red color, we are sure that it is something which is related to Coca-Cola. So something like you have to establish, and then you scale it up, so the acceptance is much more. And as already said, whether when you scale up, is that much quantity or requirement is there in the market or not. So many of the times, I think we have the threats story with us. Threats, what happens? It scaled up like anything, and it came down in a much faster speed. So there is something like, we have to be. It was launched by that a big company. Everything was right for them, but finally it got failed. So the failure is what you call happen anytime. But when we have everything ready, then definitely that is the time for scale.
Thank you. Before we get into the setbacks or the failures, is there any other questions that anybody would like to ask? Yes.
Sir, myself, Fazil. You talk about market product fit, right? I just want to ask you the question, like you said, the market, the product reaches market fit. How you retain the customer in a long run? You have any tips for that?
Customer retention is what he's talking about. You can probably talk about it.
Our category is that's one of the we're happy to lose customer.
We are also in the B2C
How do you
market.
retain customer?
Okay. And no, in fact, I always tell people, you are the one company in the world very happy to lose customer, but they are bringing a lot of other customers because people get married, they inform their friends and relatives to find life. Again, if you provide a good service and a good product, there's no reason for a customer to not to come back to you. And again, everybody said you have to continue to innovate, continue to improve, and so that the customer continue to prefer your service. About the customer service, product, all the things, everything is important. So don't take a customer for granted. I think Steve Jobs beautifully told one interesting point. The customers are, even if you're creating a great product, customers are, no, Amazon actually, Jeff Bezos, customers are beautifully dissatisfied. So many times the customer don't even know what kind of product or service they want. Is that you have to continue also figure it out. There are two kind of needs, customer needs. Well, stated needs and unstated needs. The stated needs something that you can ask customer, hey, what are the product improvements or what they want? It's a stated needs. You can identify talking to customer. The unstated needs are the customer. That's why customers are beautifully unsatisfied. They don't need. We have to innovate, offer something new which customer not even thought about. Like Prime is a good example. iPhone is a good example. So you have to do both. Stated needs, unstated needs. Stated needs very easy, ask customer. Unstated needs, entrepreneur intuition, signals, pick it out, okay, I'm going to offer something. No, it's not in the market. So these are two things entrepreneur take care of it to ensure the customers have continue to stay with you.
Fantastic. I was actually hoping I'll take a few more questions before. No, that's fine, actually. Any other questions? Yes. So, customer retention, you don't get to ask questions. You ask questions in every conference. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm a tech startup founder. So I have a question is that whether we should continue bootstrapping our startup and own our whole company, or we should raise fund and your shares of a company. Which is the best way if we are going to, or we should.
Did you get the question? What was the question?
I think if I understand it right, whether to bootstrap the company on his own or raise capital to raise.
So, it is about capital, initial capital.
Oh, I got the question right.
It is about seeding, right? Capital. Should we bootstrap or should we raise capital?
Better.
Which is better?
Yeah, I want to ask about your way of handling the financial risk. If you are starting the company or scaling up, when we invest a huge amount, right? So at least for me, when I think of expanding or moving to the next stage, I always worry about if I lose this money that I'm going to invest. But I always found that people like you have a good tolerance or have that stamina to manage this risk. So when you get into start a company or planning to invest, how do you actually plan your contingency if that fails, or is there any particular strategy that you follow when you sort of putting a lot of capital into it?
Got the question. It's a good question. What is the financial risk management strategies that you adopt as part of your scaling up? Is the question. So I'll take customer retention. I think you answered to a certain extent, but we'll get to that in the roundup. But Jimon, what is good? You're also part of the CAN and work with angel investment and all that stuff. What do you think? Should I bootstrap or should I raise capital?
Clearly, that is, it's not the same solution for everybody. Different businesses at different stages will define whether it needs to be bootstrapped or whether you need external funding. When you look at external funding, it's not, you should also not look at only for funding. You should also look at what kind of investors you get in terms of whether what is the value add they bring into your business. It is not just the money. Money doesn't take you too far. But what will take you far is the connections, the network, the platform that these investors will bring, strategy that these investors will bring in for you. If you are not ready for that, don't do it. That's my thought process here.
I will also say my take on it because when I first started a company, I wanted to raise capital, primarily because I wanted to find out whether other people will write a check for me or not. Because then it is validated by a third party. Otherwise, I will go deep into building the company and then find out that nobody is taking my services. So I wanted a third party validation other than the friends, family, and fools to write a check and make sure that there was an endorsement from a third party. So I'm always in a small way at least, accept some funds so that it gets validated by somebody else. That is my take, just my take. But going into the financial risk, and I'm sure you have gone through the ups and downs of the cycles of the Kozhikode footwear cluster. What are some of the things that we need to keep in mind? I'm doing a good business. Currently, there is $5 million worth of business that I'm doing every month. Now I'm looking at a strategy where I want to scale it to $100 million, which means I'm going to pump in a lot more money. I'm worried about losing my 5 million, which is already coming into the kitty, and a lot more that I might take from the bank or from investors or something like that. What do I need to do? How do I become prepared?
No, first thing is like, we already discussed that part. Like, is my product that much product, or that product, can I market it? Can I send this to the market and still continue to get customers? So if that is there, then I think as Jimonji said, we have to find only the options. So first thing is make sure that you are ready for scale up. Your roots are strong enough so that you don't fall down. So once you ensure that your products are, acceptable in the market, and definitely you can find out the option. So actually, we that time, when father started, there was like the investment was nearly around 10 lakhs those times, and 3 lakhs from the capital, where which we closed a unit and had some assets, and rest 7 lakhs from the various sources, including local money lenders, basically, not only the what you call bank finance, institutional finance. Apart from that, so this only thing is like you have to make sure what value addition you are going to get, what cost you are going to pay, and if it is a kind of a share in the business, how much you are going to divest with. So all these things matters when you go for a finance. And customer retention, I have one easy thing to understand. Suppose you are doing, suppose you are using a shirt. How do you keep on? What make you use that same brand again and again? Just think about that and do it. That's all. Very simple. Like suppose I am using a one shoe or one shirt or one pant. If I want, want continue to use that. What all I need, what all changes I require. So same thing, the other customer also will be interested to look for. See, my thought, as a customer, I also think the same way, and the other person is also thinking the same way. So only just study out our requirements. Enough. Just in simple words. What you said is correct. Just to easily understand.
Thank you. Nasif is calling me, probably asking me to stop. It's time. I'll wind up because of the paucity of time. കേരളം കണി കണ്ടുണരുന്ന നന്മ ഏതാണ്? മിൽമ. മിൽമയ്ക്ക് കോമ്പറ്റീഷനേ പറ്റത്തില്ലെന്നാണ് നമ്മൾ അറ്റ്ലീസ്റ്റ് ഞാനൊക്കെ വിചാരിച്ചത്. ദർ ഇസ് നോ കോമ്പറ്റീഷൻ അതർ ദാൻ ദ നെക്സ്റ്റ് ഡോർ നൈബർ ഹൂ സപ്ലൈങ് മീ വിത്ത് ദ മിൽക്ക്. പക്ഷേ in the recent past, Trivandrum has come up with a new brand called Puralia, which has actually made significant inroads. So it's a beautiful case study of how, there is already enough competition in the market. There is even a very dominant player in the market. And how do I carve my niche and slowly get in and capture that particular segment of the market? Milma and Muralia can be an excellent case study. There are several such companies out there. I think one thing that I want to reiterate and close the statement is that there is a general perception that business does not thrive in Kerala. That is not true. There are, I'm sure people like Jimon can endorse it. There is a book that is written by the KSIDC chairman, C. Balagopal, about the 50 companies that has really, really done well and done world-class products out of Kerala. So I want you to deeply believe that it is possible out of Kerala. And if you need any help, I'm sure there are many mentors out there who will be able to support you. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time, and thanks for the audience for listening.